Hello everyone. So as always, like every year, I'm in conversation with the toppers of Civil Service Examination 2018, and today I have with me Pradeep Singh, All India rank 93.
Yes.
And it's always a feeling of pride to be sitting next to someone who was in my class, who I have taught, and to see them fly. It was his first attempt. Immediately after graduation, he started preparing in 2017. He's from Indore, and I'm sure you have watched many of his videos with the news channels about the humble background that he comes from. So I had put up your mark sheet, and many of the aspirants who follow the page, they have put up some questions, so I've collected them. And first of all, thank you for coming here, making the time.
It's my pleasure, sir, and it's my pride that I am sitting next to you.
Oh, you're thank you. So what we'll do is the standard way I take these interviews is first we'll talk about some general aspects of preparation, and then we will go into each of the papers that we have, and we'll discuss how you prepare.
Yes.
So just feel free, and it's basically for the aspirants of this year and future years. So it's with that mindset. Now the first question, which I think every aspirant has as they think about preparing for this exam, is coaching, the importance or the significance of that. So how would you guide them?
I think, sir, coaching is essential for the preparation, but it is not the most necessary thing for the preparation. Actually, my decision to take coaching was a consequential decision. I thought that I had not that environment in my hometown Indore, that I could study at home, but I was ready to study at home. So my father and my parents said me that you can go to Delhi to prepare for the examination. I said yes, I will go to Delhi because there I will have that environment. Then I decided that if I am going to Delhi, then why not to take any coaching? And if I have to take coaching, then why not Bajiram? So that was a consequential decision, and I hope and I think and I would advise to students that they can prepare at home, because ultimately syllabus is in front of us, and we have that book list that what to study, what not to study. It's the students and their determination that they have to decide that how they have to study. Coaching has a benefit that it exposes the competition, that how much competition is there in the market, and it also provides a framework that coaching covers everything, the basic things, right?
But the problem which the aspirants perhaps face if they're preparing on their own is the lack of guidance.
Of course.
So what would you suggest? How can they get that guidance?
That's what I'm saying, sir. That for taking that guidance, that was the third benefit which I had listed. That for guidance, the coaching is necessary, because there we get ample amount of guidance by the senior faculties and those who have already cleared the examination or those who have appeared in the examination. And if they do not need any guidance, or they can have guidance through various YouTube channels, like this video would be broadcasted, this will also provide guidance to them. And there are a number of channels which are doing the same kind of thing. Initiatives are there like Insights on India and IAS Baba, and a number of initiatives are there which are providing daily current affairs and answer writing program free of cost. So guidance is there, but yes, coaching makes us disciplined.
Right.
And there we have to devote time every day.
This exam requires that much discipline. Yes. Okay, so let's go back to 2 years ago. You were in college, final year, you gave the exam. When did you think or plan to give this civil service examination?
Actually, sir, it was always in back of my mind that I have to appear in this examination. I had not planned in my childhood that when will I appear, whether I would appear after PG or after UG, or whether I would start my preparation with my school days. But yes, I was I would say that I was always interested in the humanities subjects. Like, I was good in history, and I was a keen learner in history. I used to learn that how Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated, or he defeated the opponents.
So why did you not take history as a subject?
I had said you earlier, sir, that this decision was of my brain and not my heart. My heart was saying that let us take history, and my brain was suggesting me that let us take sociology to score more marks, because I had to prepare the options after my prelims.
So we'll come to optionals slightly later. So if I can just quickly ask in one or two sentences, what was your main motivation behind this giving this exam?
Sir, I have a hobby of listening the poetry, reciting the poetry. There is a very famous poem of Dushyant Kumar, who is my favorite poet, that हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, इस हिमालय से कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए, आज ये दीवार भी पर्दों की तरह हिलने लगी, शर्त लेकिन थी कि ये बुनियाद हिलनी चाहिए। तो सर ये जो बुनियाद हिलाने की जो एक कैपेसिटी है जो ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमें प्रोवाइड करवाता है।
कौन किसकी बुनियाद हिलाना चाहते हैं?
बुनियाद सोसाइटी की सर। जो सोसाइटी एक फ्रेगमेंटेड सोसाइटी है, सोसाइटी में लोग एकजुट नहीं है, गवर्नेंस से अवेयर नहीं है कि गवर्नमेंट के लिए क्या क्या चीज़ें कर रही है, गवर्नमेंट से एकजुट नहीं है, एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत है। Like in Bihar, there is a lot of expectation in the mind of people that officers will do the thing for us and not the politicians. There is more expectation from the officers,
Right.
and therefore I think it is the best platform to serve the people.
Right, great. So then you came to Rajendra Nagar in Delhi. You joined coaching classes. You started your preparation through the classes first. So can you tell us what was your typical daily schedule when you were attending the classes?
Sir, when I was attending the class, I joined the Bajiram in June 2017. My classes started on June 14 of 2017, but my preparation had started way back. Like I mentioned earlier that I was good in history, so history was complete. I had completed the syllabus. I had read the NCRTs, I had read the medieval and ancient history, and like R.C. Majumdar book is there.
Right.
I had read that thick book. Polity I was good in because I am little bit interested in knowing about the political affairs. So I knew that what is the parliamentary structure, what is Lok Sabha, what is Rajya Sabha, how the members are elected,
Right.
what is the difference between MLA and MLC. This much awareness I had, and economics I had background because I did BCom honors, so I was good in economics. Geography I had prepared a month back when I decided that I would go to Bajiram. So I completed my graduation in April 2017. The whole May I gave to geography because that was the subject I was weak in. So I completed all the NCRTs 11th 12th, and I did some work on Atlas and GCDM kind of thing, and some things I left on the year ahead, like environment I left, and politics I did, history I did, economy I had already done.
Science
I had done till 12th because I had PCM background.
Economics
I had done.
you had done.
And current affairs I was.
So that was by self preparation already.
Yes sir, current affairs I was well versed.
So when you came to the classes in the coaching, you already had a good decent background. So
and that is what I would suggest to students, that whenever you are planning to join any coaching, be ahead of the coaching. Like if any topic is being taught in the class, you must be aware of that topic. That like if earthquake is being taught in the class, you must know that what is earthquake, or you must have read the NCRT and the basic things. Right. So whenever any teacher will discuss anything, so that thing will raise some queries in your mind that I have learned this, I have studied this, so why sir is saying a thing different from that? So you will raise queries, you will ask, and that will memorize the things.
Okay. So coming to the actual question that I asked, just describe a typical day in your preparation.
The day started with the coaching. I used to wake up at 7:30 or 7:20, and then little bit bathing and all. And after that, I used to reach to the class at 8 or 8:05. Like sir, your class was always on the schedule. It used to start at 8 a.m. So there I was regular. But in some classes it used to be 8:30 or 8:45. So according to that, I used to plan. So after that, at 10:30 the classes got over. And after that, 15 minutes of breakfast or tea with my friends in the coaching. And I had this thing in my mind that whenever the coaching would end, after the 20 or 25 minutes, I should have been in the room and I should have the newspaper in front of me.
Okay.
So I used to come back at 11 a.m. or before 11, and the newspaper was in front of me. I used to give around 45 to 50 minutes to newspaper, including the note making. And after that, I used to have lunch with my friends. I had 2 roommates. So I used to have lunch or breakfast, whatever, with them. And after that, 5 or 10 minutes of walk with them in the room only. And we used to discuss the current affairs. Like they had also read the newspaper, I had also read the newspaper. And we used to ask questions to ourselves that, did you read that? Did you read that? And likewise, we used to revise the newspaper.
Sharing of thoughts and ideas and kind of a quick recap of the newspaper.
Okay. And I think it used to be around 12:40 or 12:45.
Okay.
When I got back to my study.
Okay.
And then after the study went on, in the afternoon I used to feel sleepy sometimes. And whenever I used to feel sleepy, I took the pillow and I used to put the pillow on the table and I used to take the power nap for 10 or 20 minutes. Okay. And that I started after 2 months of preparation, when I realized that I am taking too much of sleep in the afternoon, which I should not take. So that power nap used to help me, and that used to arouse my energy. and after that again I used to revise the things, again I used to study the things. The coaching thing I used to revise within 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
I did not completely rely on the coaching because I knew that coaching completes all the basic things, but the foundation we have to build.
Right.
And thereby after that we had dinner. I would say that apart from sleep, coaching, and the dinner and food, I did not have anything else to do. I did not watch a single movie in the 2-year tenure.
Totally disciplined.
Yes, sir.
So, this is a typical question people ask, and there is no standard answer. But still, on an average, throughout your coaching time, about 10 months or so, what was the amount of time that you could give for self-study?
Sir, self-study, apart from coaching, I used to, if coaching gives 3 hours and 6 hours, 30 minutes or 7 hours. For
6 to 7 hours.
Sleeping 7 plus 3, 10, and 2 hours of eating and bathing and all. So it makes up 12. So 12 hours for self-study.
10 to 12 hours.
And if you include coaching, then it goes around
14, 15 hours. And closer to the exam, of course, it's much more.
It's much more, sir.
More focused. Right. So let's go on to the papers one by one. The first being essay. Now, I'll just have 2 questions. First, how to choose the topic in the exam, and second, how did you prepare your essay part?
Sir, coming to the first question, for that we need utmost practice. That before writing an essay, some toppers even suggest that I had not written a single essay before the actual examination, but that is not the right approach. Before the actual examination, we must write at least 4 to 5 essays, and by that we get the discipline that how to choose the correct topic, because 4 topics are there in the first section, 4 topics are there in the second section, and the selection matters because it decides our marks, that how many marks we are going to get.
How did you choose?
I chose, sir, I gave 10 minutes to both the sections. And I first of all selected that out of section 1 and out of section 2 which topic I am going to select. Like in paper 1 I got 4 options, but there I realized that I had sociology option, and the one topic was related to poverty or something. So I had data and facts related to that thing. I had dimensions like social, political, economic, technological. I could divide that topic into this.
So based on how much content you have on
sir.
that particular topic.
Of course, sir. And how I could divide the topic in the various dimensions, because that was my way of writing the answers, that whether I had the historical background of that topic, and of course I had related to poverty, that what has been the background of India in relation to poverty, and of course the world. The recent data I had, like there was a data that 1% of the population is controlling 72% of assets. So this is also related to like that. Multidimensional poverty index I had.
Okay.
And the ranking of India in that index. So I had too much of data, facts, and all the things.
And what about the philosophical section?
Philosophical section, sir, I used to read Ramayana and Mahabharata a lot. So on the basis of that, I use the lessons from Ramayana and Mahabharata a lot in various essays or wherever I get the chance. Like in ethics paper also, I use a lot of lessons. So on the basis of that, I chose the 4th topic, which was there, like that was reality does not conform to the ideals but confirms it. And I had the content, sufficient content in that topic, and I read that essay very well.
Okay, and that's why in total you got 121 marks. Okay, so if you can take a quick example and tell how an essay should be written in your opinion, or for example the reality, this section 2, how would you have written that?
Like, sir, the reality thing, that I started my essay with I would say that we can start the essay with an anecdote if we have any story, or we can create an anecdote at that point of time, or we can have some data. Like I said, that if multidimensional poverty index is there, so we can start with that index, that in the recent index pointed out that India has this rank in the index, and this points out that India is far behind other developing countries, and this, like in this form, we can start our essay. After that, we must highlight that what we are going to discuss in the whole essay. Like I used to write that in this essay we are going to discuss the following things, and later on we will discuss the various dimensions and what government is doing on all things. So this should be 4 to 5 lines, a paragraph, that how that paragraph highlights that what we are going to write. After that, we must give some historical background, that what is historical background of that topic, or some topics do not have historical background but we can create, like this reality thing. I created some examples from Indian history, that India has a history of inequality and things like that, and that does not conform to their ideals. And after that, we can divide the topic in various dimensions, like political dimension is there, social dimensions are there, and economic, technological, and various and number of dimensions. Or we can write the essay in the form like we can have some problems. After that, we can have some consequences, or we can have some pros and cons and divide the things. Or later on in the later essay, we can suggest some measures that should be taken by the government or by the society. And in the end, we should have some conclusion. And I prepared in the way that I researched a lot on how to introduce the topic and how to conclude the topic. I had a lot of introductions and conclusions ready for every topic. Like for poverty I had, for globalization I had, for women empowerment.
So how did you end this kind of a topic that reality does not conform but confirms?
There is a quote of, I am forgetting his name, but there is not a better time to choose the idea or something like that. There was a quote. So I started the conclusion with this quote, and later on I added some recent data, and after that a hopeful quote that yes, India would be equal in future.
Okay. Now coming to the general studies part, you've got 433 marks total.
Yes.
Let's go through your strategy. So if you can tell us the books that you referred and anything specific you did for answer writing practice. So paper 1, history, geography, society.
Like sir, paper 1 I've already mentioned that for history I've read a lot, so I cannot differentiate that which book I referred to. Like I have.
But for a revision, what did you refer?
I've read Bipin Chandra's India's Struggle for Independence, Spectrum Modern India, and the Modern India's NCRT that earlier used to be published by NCRT, now it is being published by Penguin Publication, and some other sources like R.C. Majumdar I have read earlier, and this was for modern history. For ancient, I have done a lot of things like CCRT notes, my own made notes, and NCRT pink color book, NCRT R.S. Sharma, Nitin Singhania I did, but I would suggest that you can.
That must have been the like CCRT and all this for art and culture part.
Yes, sir, art and culture part, and that also contributes to ancient history. That how the things have evolved.
Okay.
And for medieval history, I was always good in medieval history because I had read a lot, so I did not give that much time to that. Coming to geography, I have read 6 to 12 NCRTs, G.C. Leong, and I have watched a lot of videos on YouTube on various topics. Like on earthquake, I have watched a lot of videos.
So what kind of videos? Like
class? Animated videos.
Okay. On
that helps us in understanding.
Like Science Insider and all those kind of videos. Okay.
Sci-fi is there. Then those kind of videos. And I have done Oxford and Orient Atlas.
Okay.
And a lot of things which I am not. G.C. Leong.
Yeah. So what about the other smaller parts like globalization?
Yes, sir.
Sociology.
I had sociology as my
all those things you must have.
And sir, I used to make notes for every topic. For every topic, I had 4 to 5 pages notes. Like for communalism, secularism, I had notes.
What do you mean by every topic? Is it the topic in the syllabus?
Yes, sir. Like in GS1, 3 sections are there. History. In history, there is ancient, modern, medieval, and world history. In then society portion is there where women empowerment and urbanization remedies, and secularism, communalism is there. So and in geography there is earthquake. Like there was recent question that described the NDMA guidelines regarding the earthquake and various disasters. Flora and fauna is there, and the things like that. So it makes around 60 to 70 topics. On every topic, like a word has been mentioned. Like secularism is a word that has been mentioned in the syllabus. So we can think over that on various dimensions we can make the notes.
Right. So similarly, paper 2.
Paper 2, sir, like you suggested to us that we should have a reading of Bare Act. So I did PM Bakshi. I read all the articles as it has been written in the actual constitution.
All the articles?
Yes, sir. Till 350 or 360. After that,
there's hardly anything left.
Yes,
395 is the last one.
Sir. So PM Bakshi, I read all the articles to get the understanding, because as you have said that Lakshmikant is the interpretation of that book. So I thought that I should first read that PM Bakshi. After that I read Lakshmikant. For governance portion I made my own notes for every topic.
From where?
From various sources, sir. We can search on Google, we can see the previous year papers.
So again you did the same thing, you looked into the syllabus, picked up the topics, and you searched for information.
Yes, sir. I had made the notes for the mains part before my prelims. GS2 I researched a lot. I saw the previous year toppers, their videos, their notes. Then I searched for the coaching materials. A lot of materials. Vajra also provides us materials, and number of coachings are there. So I researched and I summarized. I made a synopsis on every topic. Like in governance, there is.
So you used to read all these sources?
Yes, sir. And after that, I used to make a compilation. So if role of civil services in democracy, health and hunger, or education and things like that. those are the topics. So I used to make notes on every topic, and I used to have a broader understanding that what does the topic suggest and how can the questions be framed.
And you'll make your own notes on
Yes,
that.
sir.
So
And
when
if
you
I-
revise, ultimately you revise your own notes.
Yes, sir. And if any current affairs is there related to that topic, then I used to edit the notes,
Okay.
and I used to make an addition in that notes.
Anything specific for international relations?
International relations can be prepared with the newspaper, sir, I think.
Hmm.
Because I have not made separate notes.
So by
for
the
that.
which newspaper you followed?
Sir, before prelims I referred to the Hindu. After prelims I used to refer to the Hindu and Indian Express, because Indian Express provides.
So you used to read both newspapers completely or selectively?
Selectively, sir, because some things can be skipped. Like if an article is there in the Hindu and Indian Express as well, then we can choose that which article is good.
Okay. But how do you choose without reading it?
Because sir, I could understand that.
You get the hang of it. I mean,
Yes,
I understand
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
But it's just, after 1 year you realize.
Gradually we get.
Okay. All right. And this is another scary part I find in paper 2. People always say governance. Right? So would you have any special tips how to prepare the governance part?
Actually, sir, if we are preparing for the UPSC, then we must prepare first governance, because that is what we are going to utilize in our later phase when we would be selected. So for governance, I can say that if anyone is exposed to the government, like if RTI is there, so what is the RTI and how can we get the better utilization of that thing which government has done for us? So if we are exposed to governance, then it is very easy for us. Like there was a question related to local healthcare in GS2 paper. So that was basically related to that thing which Delhi government has recently launched, the Mohalla clinic things. So if we are reading the things in the newspaper and if we are correlating the things, then we would easily be able to write the answers.
Yeah, so even when people ask me, I also say the same thing, that there is no specific source for this governance related topics. It is your own reading of the newspaper, your own awareness, your own citizens' attitude that you bring to the table. It's a culmination of all of that.
And some kind of smart work.
Yeah. Okay. What about reading magazines like Yojana, Kurukshetra?
In the first phase of my preparation, I used to read Yojana for various, but I found that if any topic is there, that housing and all the things like that, agriculture is there, for example. So on agriculture, Yojana used to provide, on every topic, Yojana uses to provide around 10 to 12 essays or articles. But those articles cover the same thing. So we do not need to, I think, cover the Yojana things.
Right. And you've got very good marks. It's 116. It's almost like one of the toppers of this year. Okay, so let's move on to GS paper 3, Economics, Science and
GS
Technology.
paper 3 is the most vast, sir, because it has economy, it has agriculture, it has environment, then internal security, disaster management, cyber security, intellectual property rights, everything is there. Everything that can be under the sun is there in the GS3 paper. And it's actually a good thing, because there the topics have been separated. Cyber security is there, we can prepare for the cyber security separately. We can have some dimensions that what Indian government is doing, what things are going on in and around the world, and what is the recent data regarding the cyber security, what are the threats, what are different kinds of cyber security threats. So we can prepare separately, because GS3 provides us the topics separately. In economy, I did with the coaching material, which Vajiram in class room I made the notes, and after that I also used to refer so many things, like I did Mrunal, I did a lot of research again.
So coming to the internal security part, how did you prepare that?
Sir, I made notes from some previous year toppers, answers or booklets.
How did you get that?
Sir, online. It is available.
Okay.
Just we need to some search. And after that, I also used to follow that website, that it's a IDSA. That is also good. And apart from that, Vision IS material and other things.
So no specific book as such, but sources.
People suggest, but I think we can manage anyhow.
Okay, and what about environment?
Environment, I had done Shankar IAS plus 11, 12, that biology plus 5 chapters, and a lot of videos on YouTube.
Again, random videos or
random videos source? And one more thing I would like to mention here, that we can have a look on current affairs, like sea level rise and global climate change and the summits. So that current affairs can be prepared, and questions are asked from that only.
Okay, all right. And coming to GS4, this is again something which people are always finding lack of sources.
Yes.
So here I would like you to answer two specific questions. One, your sources, specifically if you can tell which were the sources. And how to write good answers in ethics?
The first one is that the answer to the first question is that the first source was always the class notes. Pradeep sir and Pathak sir was there. They covered all the topics. After that, I was also used to refer the Vajiram booklets which were provided to us. After that, I made my own notes on every topic. Like if integrity is there, so the definition of integrity, example of integrity, and if any topic is similar to that topic, like honesty is similar to integrity, then difference between honesty and integrity. Again, the
primarily source was internet.
Yes, sir.
For this kind of
internet helped a lot. And I earlier mentioned that I was a keen learner in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I used and quoted the example of Ramayana and Mahabharata in various answers of the ethics.
Okay.
And I think that helped me a lot. Okay. And the case studies can be practiced. Like we can have several case studies, we can solve them and we can get them evaluated from the mentors. And they can tell us that where we are doing the mistakes. And ethics, I think in ethics we can write the answers in an ethical way. Like the extreme options cannot be selected. Like I will do this, I will do this. If that's not possible, that should not be selected. We should always select the practical things. Like if that can be done, then that can be chosen.
Can you give an example?
Like sir, in the previous year or some previous year, there was a question that one boy was going to the interview and there he passed through an accident and some boy was lying on the road and he had an option that whether he should have attended the interview or he should call the ambulance or things like that.
Okay.
So there the people write that I would leave my interview, but I think somewhere it is not practical and people would not do. I can do, some people can do, but everyone would not do. But everyone was writing the same answer that we would leave our interview. That does not leave a good impression on the examiner.
What would you have written?
I would have written that I would have called any relative of mine because I always prefer that one must accompany me during my interview, and that's a good thing. In this interview also, I had my friend who went with me on the interview day. So there always should be one parents or friends or anyone, and I could say in that.
So instead of taking extreme choices, we should try to achieve both goals.
We can have a wider choice.
So yeah, the ethical dilemma need not be to choose one, but to.
They did not mention that you cannot take your friend with.
Yeah. Okay. So coming now to your optional, sociology. I think this is mind-blowing marks, 307. Yes. Considering, as you told me earlier, you prepared only after prelims.
Yes,
in fact, you started reading sociology in detail
sir.
After prelims.
Yes,
before that, you did not do anything. This is not the subject you graduated in.
Yes, sir.
You naturally love history.
Yes, sir.
But you took sociology and got 307 marks.
Sir.
Paper 1, 171, paper 2, 136. Standard thing which people want to know, what are the sources and how did you score so much in paper 1? What do you think is the reason for?
Sir, I would like to discuss my journey because my journey actually started since my childhood. But when I joined the coaching in Vajiram in June 2017, in July month or in August of 2017, I had this dilemma that which option should I take. So I had history, philosophy, public administration, which is evergreen subject, and political science, and this sociology in front of me. So I thought that whether I should hear to my mind or
your heart, which was saying history.
My heart was saying that political science or history, and my brain was saying that no, I think I have some intuition kind of thing that no, I would not score good marks in history or political science. Let us go with sociology. I opted for sociology and I decided on that day only in July that I would take sociology come whatever may. So, but I did not prepare for sociology before prelims. I thought that anyhow I have to clear prelims. After that I would prepare anyhow. And when I wrote prelims, I made the answer sheet with the answer key, and I got to realize that I am getting around 105 or 110 marks. So that thing was clear in my mind that yes, I am clearing prelims. After that, I searched for coachings, that which coaching I should join or on which teacher I should rely, because that I had already I think 3 months, 25 days with me, and in that period only I had to prepare for my optional. That is a very big thing, and therefore I went to Vikas Ranjan sir, who teaches sociology optional. So I went to him, I told this case that sir, I have to prepare in 3 months, and anyhow I have to prepare because I have cleared prelims. This chance is not going to come again in my life. So I have to clear anyhow with this optional. So he said me that yes, you can join the classes and see that whether you are able to complete the course or not. I joined the coaching. I did the coaching offline, till 10th of July. But then I realized that the coaching would go till September. Then I would not have the time to revise the things, then to write the test series. So sir only called me and said that in this way you are not going to clear sociology. So he provided me the online videos of the previous sessions, which he had recorded videos, and he provided me and said that complete all these videos and make the notes out of those videos as soon as possible. So I used to watch 2, 3 or 4 videos in a day. I used to increase the speed of the video, like at 1.5 or at the speed of 2.
So were you just listening or you were also making
I was
notes?
listening. I was actually listening, sir, because I was also understanding and I was also making the notes. And if I skipped some things, then I paused the video, I again made the notes, and I had this thing in my mind that if the video is of 2 hours, then I would complete that video in 1 hour. And like this, I completed some 4 videos in a day. And one day was there when I completed 5 videos. And like this, I completed the sociology optional, making the notes and understanding the things, the concepts in 50 or 55 days. And in that meanwhile, I used to go to the Vikas Ranjan sir and I used to tell him that, sir, this thing I am not able to understand in the class.
So you actually did not attend the class?
I attended the class
as well as the...
Yes, sir. I attended the class and sir had given me this liberty that if you are not understanding through the videos, because you are not going to have any discussion, you cannot raise queries in online videos. So for that you can come to me or you can contact me anytime. So I remember that even on one day I called him at 11 p.m. and I said that, sir, I am not able to understand this concept. So he taught me that. One call only. And after that, sir suggested me that once you have completed the syllabus, give 15 days more to revise the things. And in those 15 days, I revised the syllabus, this whole things for 2 times. And the sources were the class notes and Vikas Ranjan sir, that the printed notes which he used to provide us. Those printed notes contained everything. So I did not refer to any other thing. Even people and toppers suggested Arnab Bose is there, Rizal is there, Ram Ahuja is there, S.C. Dubey is there, lot of things, but I did not have time and I did not have that liberty that I could cover all the things. So I relied on such notes. Sir gave me 15 days that revised all the things and joined the test series. So I joined the test series in the month of August and I started writing the answers. I wrote around 20 to 25 tests there only. And in one of the tests I got the highest score among all the students who were giving the mains.
So what would you say was the differentiating factor in your answers of sociology?
I think I took sociology because, sir, it is social in nature. The topics which are there in the sociology, we are living those topics. We are living in those topics. Like caste is there, tribes are there, women empowerment, illiteracy, education, urbanization, and all the things are going on in and around us. And therefore, it is the thing which in which we can write the general answers as well. But sir suggesting me that write social answers. And by social answers, I mean that use the concepts of sociology, use the thinkers of sociology, and some sociological linings, so that this answer would appear to be sociological. And for that I used to underline the things. I used to show to the examiner that yes, I am writing a sociological answer. Even though I used to have a general understanding of all the topics. And I revised multiple times. I revised sociology for 5 to 6 times. And I used to make notes on every topic. On every topic, like 10 chapters are there in the paper 1. In those 10 chapters, around 50 to 60 topics are there. On every topic, I had crisp and short notes like introduction, thinker's point of view, current example, some conclusion ready for that topic, and 2 to 3 page notes.
So what about your GS part during this preparation?
Sir,
for mains?
For sociology preparation?
For that only, GS?
Yes, sir. Yeah. For that only I used to increase the speed of the video. Like in 4 hours I would complete 4 videos. In morning I used to take, like we take capsule as a medicine. I used to take videos as the capsule. In the morning, before the breakfast, 1 video. After the breakfast, 1 video. In the evening, 1 video, and before going to sleep, 1 video.
So approximately, what is the time you devoted for optional and the time devoted for general studies, let's say, in those 3.5 months?
After the prelims, in the first 50 days, the half time was devoted to sociology and half time for general studies, because I had already made the notes for mains, and therefore I had that liberty. And in the next 50 days or 70 odd days, I used to give more time to general studies, and I used to write a lot of answers. On a peak time, I used to write around 6 to 7 hours for general studies. To get that ambience that yes, I am writing 2 papers in a day, and which we have to actually write in the examination.
So you also did practice a lot of answer writing for GS as well as your optional. So you attended some like a test series at some coaching, or how did you do answer
First of
writing?
all, sir, after prelims, I decided that I would not join any coaching.
Okay.
But when I went to this sociology coaching, that Vikas Ranjan sir also provides some GS test series. So I joined that GS test series, and he provided me this liberty that you can solve the papers of different coachings which are available in the market,
Right.
and you can solve those questions, and you can get them evaluated here. So I used to solve the questions of different coachings, and I used to get them evaluated, or I evaluated on my own.
Great. Now coming to the final stage of all this process, the personality test,
Yes,
or
sir.
as we call it, the interview.
Yes, sir.
How did you prepare? What was your specific preparation for getting through the interview stage?
Sir, when I cleared through the mains, the result was announced after the 3 days of my birthday. So that was the happiest moment for me. And after that, I realized that this is the biggest chance which I have got. And if I sailed through this stage, then I would make my career. And the luck was with me or not with me, I would not say, because I got the date which was for the interview on the last day of the interview. Schedule. Like the interview was.
I remember that.
Schedule was, yes, sir, I told you. That interview schedule was from 11th of Feb to 29th of March, and I got my interview date as 29th of March. So first of all, I realized that maybe destiny is with me, that I've got the last date and I have a lot of time to prepare. But later I realized that that had something else to do. And for these 2 months, I prepared on my DAF. I focused on my DAF, that what things I wrote, and like on hobbies, on extracurricular activities, on my achievements, my graduation subjects. I completed my graduation again. I revised all the syllabus of the graduation, like if 6 semesters were there, and in every semester 6 subjects were there. So total 36 subjects were there. I revised every subject. Syllabus is there for every subject, so I made notes on every topic which is there in the syllabus, so that if any question would come, I would be able to answer. Then my option was sociology. I did sociology again. I revised all the things again and some short notes on every topic, so that if something related to caste would be asked to me, then I would be able to speak something on that, and I would be able to have my stand. Then I used to read around 3 to 4 papers. First of all, I used to read the Indian Express. That was my colleague. And after that, I also used to refer the Hindu, but that I would not suggest to the students, because the Hindu is little bit critical towards the government efforts. So the Indian Express I used to refer, then the Economic Times, this one, Times of India. These 4 papers I used to read every day. And after that, I also, like my hobby was poetry, and my interest was in Ramayana and Mahabharata. I was also a keen quizzer during my college days.
Okay.
So I used to research a lot that, and I also used to remember that what type of quizzing I had done in my college days. Like I also founded Indore Quiz Club in Indore, and that is a very prominent quiz club today.
Okay.
So all those things were there in my DAF, and I prepared a lot. But in interview, that is actually the personality test, which I realized. So in personality test, I faced a lot of questions, but not a single question was related to my hobby or related to my hometown Indore. But I had prepared a lot. Like Indore is the cleanest city, so I prepared that why Indore is the cleanest city, what other cities can learn from it, and things like this.
Okay.
But interview, I think, cannot be predicted, and it is random in nature.
Like any event in life, this
Yes.
is also because of personality test. That's the name. Anyway, so now hardly 20 days, 15 days are left for this year's prelims. What would you suggest should be done by an aspirant? Let's say in the last 1 month, just before prelims.
Sir, I've actually uploaded a video that how one should approach in the last 20 days. But here I would say it in concise form that in the last 20 or 15 odd days, our focus must be on the previous year papers. And like if 10 papers are there for previous year, I used to do this thing. So if we can start with 2013 paper, then 2014, 15, and we can solve this every day. In the last 10 days, we can solve the previous year papers every day, and CSET paper every alternate day.
Okay.
So 5 previous year CSET papers would do the thing for CSET, and last 10 year papers of the actual general studies would set our mind in a framework that how UPSC sets the questions, how it tricks the students by this if, only, not, but, and their students get tricked that, oh, I should write this, I should choose this option. And I think because UPSC has the same examiner who is setting the paper every year, some examiners get changed, but I think they have the same mindset that they would again try to do the same thing which they have done it earlier. And to get that thing, we should solve the previous year paper in the last days and not the coaching papers, because coaching examiners have different set of mind.
Yeah, obviously.
And again, the second thing is multiple revision. Whatever you have read, multiple revision of that thing, and not a single source should be adopted, which is being suggested in a new form. Like if anyone is coming to you and saying that do Ramesh Singh for economy in the last 15 days, and you have not done that.
Of course.
So that should not be mistaken by the students.
This is the typical problem I've found. What people do is that because in the last days, many coaching institutes throw out so many new things in the
yes,
market.
Sir, capsule and all these things.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, everything they will send, and then it will become like a big,
yes, sir.
Kind of a big rumor or something that everybody
that
rushes for
that material is good.
It's no point.
But not a single question would come.
You cannot be part of the rat race.
Yes.
You have to stand out.
Yes, sir.
Now, one last question, which a lot of people do ask: how do you keep yourself motivated for such a long, drawn process without a guarantee?
Sir, here I would say two things. First of all, see that why have you opted for this examination? Why have you come here for preparing? Because you are devoting 2, 3, 4 or 5 years of your life to this examination. And if you are doing so, then why you are doing so? And if that reason is not coming from within you, then I think it is very difficult to be in this race. And the second thing which I did, I always used to be self-motivated. I used to write some poems. So I wrote 2 lines, which I have earlier mentioned in any interview. I would mention here also. And those 2 lines were that to motivate myself, that why I have come here. And that sounds something, I would say that conservative, but anyway, these are my lines. That भैया और मम्मी का सपना अब जल्दी साकार हो, बाबा का नाम गूंजे धरती पर, पापा की जय जयकार हो. So I used to think that if I would clear this examination, this would benefit my family, this would uplift the status of my family, and also the financial condition, also the economic condition, everything. And I would be in that position that I would be able to do those things which I have aspired to do. And by these things, I used to.
And you have definitely very successfully done that. बाबा का नाम रोशन हुआ है, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है. और आपके परिवार का, आपके इवन जहाँ ओरिजिनली आप गोपालगंज से बिलोंग करते हैं. So okay. So if I can quickly summarize, what I have been able to capture is that, for example, for choosing the optional, it's what I find people look outside. कि कौन सा optional अच्छा कर रहा है, कौन सा optional में ज़्यादा number आ रहे हैं. Whereas actually it should be from inside. What you like, what is your natural interest, and of course you have to solve the debate between the heart and mind. Secondly, what I have realized is that you're not relied too much on any books as such, whether it is for optional or even for general studies, apart from the basic books. And you have been an active aspirant, not a passive aspirant कि किताब में जो लिखा है वो पढ़ लो, read what the newspaper is giving you, but actually seek out and get information on the particular topic. Like how you give examples, cyber security. So go out and get information.
Yes, sir. As much as you can and as much you can summarize.
So not be passive reader or something like that, but be an active aspirant.
Like sir, for choosing optional also there is a defined strategy. I have gone through. So I can say that see the syllabus, see the previous year papers.
Everybody knows that.
Whether you are able to get that or not, you are able to comprehend that thing or not. And if you are not, then why are you choosing that optional? People sometimes go in the rat race, as you mentioned that if political science is doing good, then take political science.
Or anthropology.
Or anthropology.
Or earlier it used to be Pali literature.
Yes, sir.
I remember. No, that's great. Thank you, Pradeep, for being here.
Thank you, sir, for calling me.
I'm glad that you came here. I have a small gift. It's a big gift in another way.
It's actually big, sir, because this flag is very close to my heart.
So I hope you keep the flag flying high.
Of course, sir.
And with a lot of expectations to see you in action further. I really thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, sir.